Hi there, in this video I'm going to review the TECHNAXX TX-164. TECHNAXX is a German company and they reached out to me to review this, the TX-164, which is a time-lapse camera. Now it's not something that I normally use, but I thought it'd be quite fun to have a go at doing a review on the channel because it's not something I've done before and it's the first time that a company has reached out to me, so I couldn't really refuse. Now you can be assured that I'm going to give you completely honest opinions on this video because I'm not sponsored by TECHNAXX in any way and I'm not obligated to say anything in particular. All I want to do is help you to enjoy your photography. I've had this camera now for about a week and it's given me a chance to play about with it, try it in some different situations and get used to how it works. But basically what you can do with it is you can record stills over a period of time and then the camera will stitch them together into a sort of movie, a time-lapse movie, or you can record video and do the same thing. Now what it will also do is it will take stills in a sequence that it doesn't put together in a movie, and the same with video. The camera has a sensor on it that will record in full HD. During the day it records in full colour as well. At night it's helped out by this LED light on the front that lights up to provide extra illumination. In a short while I'm going to show you some of the results that I've had out of this camera, but before I do that let's discuss some of the specs. Inside the camera is a 2 megapixel sensor that will record in HD and it is designed to work in low light. Now the lens has a fixed aperture of f4 and also a field of view of 110 degrees, so it's quite a wide angle lens. It is worth noting that this is quite a power hungry beast. It requires 12, yes that's 12 AA batteries. Now they are included in the box, so the first time that you buy this you will get the batteries included, but after that you'll have to supply them yourself. But there is the option of having a power adapter if it's near a power supply, so you don't need the batteries to make it work. It is worth noting that this does not come with an SD card, so you do have to provide your own. It does make it very clear just on the front of the box, so they're not trying to con you or anything, but just bear in mind that you do need your own little micro SD card. Most cameras or even phones will have some kind of time-lapse function, but what sets this camera apart from those is it's designed to be outside in the elements for long periods of time. And the way that it manages this is it's a really robust case that surrounds the camera. It's got a latch that secures it and it's sealed really well to an IP66 rating. Now what an IP66 rating is it prevents all ingress of dust and hose directed water, so any kind of rain will not get in. The only thing it won't do is it won't get submerged in water. So what I think I need to do is I think I need to test it with the hose pipe. So to make sure I've tested the waterproof qualities properly, I've got the hose pipe at the ready. I'm recording on the time-lapse camera at the moment, so here goes. That was a completely successful test. There's no damage to the camera at all. The footage is completely fine, so if I show you the results, you can see here the footage that the camera recorded with me squirting the camera and everything is working perfectly. Let's have a little look at what we get inside the box. So first of all, there's a camera. We also get 12 AA batteries. Now I've already put those inside the camera. There we go. And then we've got an instruction manual. Now it is worth spending a little bit of time with the instructions because the menus themselves are not particularly self-explanatory. So if you get familiar with the functions of the camera before you start to use it, you will find the whole process a lot more pleasurable. Also in the box are lots of different options for attaching the camera to different locations. So firstly, we've got a bracket that looks like this. On the back of the bracket is a plate that you can screw into the wall, and on the other end is a screw fitting that goes into the bottom of the camera. Now this would be particularly useful if you were doing some filming over a long period of time, say for instance recording the building of a house, and I wanted to attach the camera permanently to a particular location. Now according to the specs, the batteries will last for 6 months, taking one shot every 5 minutes. Then we've got a strap. Now this strap is really long, so it would be very useful for attaching it around a large tree trunk. Just at the back of the camera there are some holes that you can slide that through, so it makes mounting it very, very straightforward. We've got a bungee cord, so this is an elasticated rope, so you could use that for mounting. And again, at the back there are some holes on the back of the camera that you can slide that through. And the final mounting option we have is this clamp. Now I've found this most useful. I've used this probably more than anything. On one end there's the same screw fitting that goes into the bottom of the camera, and on the other end there is a clamp that will attach to a pole, a twig, a tripod, and that is really, really very useful. Then finally in the box we've got a USB cable. If you want to transfer the files from the SD card onto the computer using USB, you can use that. I just find taking the card out and using a card reader is probably quicker, and you also get a little cleaning cloth. Let's have a little look at how the camera works. So here on the right hand side there is this clip that is used to seal the camera, because it's important to get that waterproof seal. It's quite robust. When you open it up, the first thing you see is this big compartment on the right hand side that holds some of the batteries. There's 8 in there, and then there's a further 4 underneath this compartment here. On the side is a micro SD card slot and also the USB port if you'd like to plug in the cable to transfer the files. So to turn the camera on, we press this button just here. We get the welcome screen, and then we see what the camera sees on this screen on the back, which is in full colour and is really useful. Now it is important, as I said earlier, to spend a little bit of time with the instructions, because the menus themselves are all controlled from these 6 buttons here on the back, and they're not completely self-explanatory, but I'll take you through the main points now. So first of all, we've got a mode button here. The mode button cycles between, if you look at this icon here on the top left hand corner, you've got picture time-lapse, then the next one is video time-lapse, and the third menu is the playback. So that is really it for the modes, and then when you go back again, you go back to the picture time-lapse. Let's have a look at the menu options that are available. So first of all, if I go into the menu, I can see what the camera's set to at the moment. It's on time-lapse photo with a 60-second interval. It tells me the battery and how much storage is available. So if I scroll down, this tells me my current mode. So if I go into that, there are 4 modes available. There's a time-lapse photo and time-lapse video. What those both do is the camera will stitch the time-lapse photos or videos together into an AVI, so it runs as a video on its own, or we can take individual photos and individual videos. If I go into the time-lapse photo, I can show you some of the options that you'll have available. You can change how many days. At the moment, all days are selected, so it will record on every day, or you can turn certain days off if you don't want the camera to record on certain days. Then you can also set the interval time. That is the time between shots, and that can go anything from 3 seconds all the way up to 24 hours. Once you have the camera set how you want it, it's very straightforward to start the recording. You just press this button just here, it tells you what it's going to do, and then it starts a countdown. So it's counting down from 15 down to 1 to tell you it's about to start recording. You also get a green light flashing just on the front that tells you it's about to start recording. When it countdowns to 1, the recording has started. So now it will be taking the photos at 1 minute intervals, because that's what I've set it for at the moment. To stop the recording, you go back and you just press this button here and it says recording stopped. That's given you an overview of all the specs, what you get in the box, and a guide of the menu system. Now, just as I said before, I have seen some people say the menu systems are complicated. I don't think they're particularly complicated, but you just need to read the instructions because they're not particularly self-explanatory. But now all that's done, let's go and have a look at some of the results that I've got from the camera. Probably one of the main ways that I will use this camera is for adding little bits of B-roll to my videos for things like clouds moving and maybe sunrises or sunsets. I have taken a time lapse of some clouds moving, they're quite nice. I really wished I'd have had this camera a few weeks ago when I was on the beach near Whitby, because I could have taken a time lapse of the sun coming up above the horizon. That would have been quite spectacular. So expect to see a few more time lapses in future videos. A few weeks ago we dug a trench just here to put a drain in. Now the camera would have been ideal to film the progress of that, digging out the trench and then filling it back in. You can just see the remnants of where the turf's gone back, so unfortunately I didn't record that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to mow the lawn and do a time lapse of that. I have recorded this scene on the time-lapse camera here behind me. I've done it twice. The first time I did it, I recorded it and let the time-lapse camera go into the evening, and it's really interesting to know as the light drops you start to see different colours in the sky, and also the LED illuminating light comes on to illuminate the scene. What I did notice when I reviewed the footage, that 1 or 2 of the frames had a hedgehog walking through. I'll highlight that on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up at a lower level and do some video time lapse to see if I can catch it on video. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention a few little niggles that I came across while I was using the camera. Firstly, if you attach a standard camera plate that goes onto a tripod, the holes that you screw into just don't quite seem deep enough, so the plate spins. There can be a little bit of an issue with composing the camera, because if you've set it up on a post, you have to then close it, and you can't be completely precise about the composition of the shot, but that's just me being fussy. And occasionally the recording hasn't started and I haven't actually worked out why that is. I've set the camera going, left it for 15 minutes, gone back, and then it hadn't started. Didn't quite work out why that happened, but you just have to make sure that you go through all the processes and make sure you do everything correct. Finally, what are my overall impressions of the TECHNAXX TX-164? Well, I really like it. Once you start thinking a little bit more creatively, the possibilities become endless of what you could do with it. I haven't mentioned things like plant growth or decay, or thinking of things like security. It'd be really useful as a security device. There are so many possibilities when you start thinking about it, as well as all the things that I could use it for, like sunrises, sunset, cloud movements, that kind of thing. So it's just all about your creativity. Now, it is fairly specific on what it can do. It is literally just a time-lapse machine. There are other things. If you wanted to use it as a wildlife trap, it is possible to to take pictures of wildlife, but there are devices specifically designed to film wildlife that will trigger on movement and will work in the dark using infrared. But for the job it's designed to do, it does a really good job. I'm really grateful to TECHNAXX for reaching out to me to review their camera and sending it to me. I think I'll find it really useful going forward in the future, and as you start to be more creative and think out the box, you start to think of lots of other possibilities that you could use it for that are a little bit different. If you'd like your own camera, then it's available at the moment on amazon.co.uk, priced at £149. If you've enjoyed this video or have any questions about the TX-164, let me know down below in the comments, or nip over to my Instagram account, that's @DOakdenPhotography. Leave me your comments there, and you can also see lots of my pictures. Now, if you like what I do on this channel, you can also support me by visiting my Teespring store. There I've got a range of merchandise on offer, and there's a link down below in the description. But you don't have to spend loads of money to support the channel. Click on my face here to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. Up here, there's a video that you can go and check out. Watch out for next week's video. That goes live at 4 o'clock on Sunday. But all that's left now is to say, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.